Alright, guys, in 145, this is the last problem on the 1.3b worksheet, capital C. So we just want to talk a bit more about composition and how to do things with this graph that's given. So the first problem asks for f of 2. And so I would just consult the graph here and say when x is 2, f is 0. Okay. And then the second problem is asking for g of f of 2. And the reason we're asking for these in order is because now f of 2, that's 0, that's what I'm going to plug into g. So when g is 0, I take this y value and I make it the x value now. So I get 4. So g of f of 2, all right, that's really g of 0, and that's 4. Okay? So that's the second question. And now g of 0 is 4. Okay, so we're going to go in a pattern here. We see that. And now the next question, 3, is f of g of 0. So f of g of 0, we see now is f of 4 based on the last question. And when f is 4, it looks like, or excuse me, when x is 4, it looks like f is 2. Okay, so that's parts 1, 2, and 3. And then the next question is, what about f of 4? Well, again, we just figured out f of 4 was 2. And if we take f of 2, we get back to 0. So f of 4 is f of 2, which is where we started, right? f of 2 is 0. So question 4 there is 0. All right, so the next part of this question, 5 and 6, are asking about, what about if something's symmetric about the y-axis or the origin? Well, symmetric about the y-axis would be something that looks like this, like x squared or x squared plus 2. And what happens here is, in this case, so this is number 5, f of minus 2, you can tell, so here's minus 2, here's 2. Those are going to be the same. It's going to be the same as f of 2, okay? And so if that was true in the same graph that we were looking at, that would be 0 again. Next question is about g of minus 2. If g is symmetric about the origin. So symmetric about the origin would be something like this, which means that this is not reflection, this is a rotation. If you spin it 180 degrees around y equals x, you get the same thing. And in this situation, that's called an odd function. These previous ones were called even. So when you have an odd function, g of minus 2, you can think of pulling the negative out, which you can't always do. Okay, it just comes out front. You can only do that for odd functions. And of course, g of 2 on that previous graph was 3, so this would be minus 3. All right. And so now I want to go back to that graph, because next we're going to sketch f of x plus 1 and f of quantity x minus 1. Okay, so over the top here, I'm going to sketch f of x plus 1. So that's the plus 1 outside, which means everything is going to go up 1. So it should look like that. And now I'll use a different color. The next question is f of x minus 1. Remember, that's a shift horizontally, and it's kind of backwards from what you normally think. That's a shift to the right. It used to be that this point was when x was 0. Now, to make 0 the input, I would need x to be 1. So I move it over here. So this will move over 1. This will move over 1. It's going to look like this. Okay, so I shifted the whole thing to the right. Okay? All right, so that's the last question on the handout for 1.3b. And just email me and let me know if you have more questions.